Nobody's seen me in so many days. They're like, where are you at, Elizabeth? Well, I've been sick. The weather dipped. I spend all the time with the wood stove when the weather dips. I'm back down at the farm because I'd gotten sick. I had to have an eye exam. They had to dilate my eyes. My eyes were not doing good because of the thyroid medicine. I had to go to the endocrinologist, and I just needed eyeballs on me, so I'm here. And then today, Mom and Dad left to go to an appointment in Knoxville, and actually there were Mom, Dad, and like one or two other people that live in the holler here had to go in the same complex, and so they all just went together because this holler. Hang on, let me get my phone fixed. This holler just kind of takes care of each other. Well, they get to where they're on I-40 and they get stopped. All the traffic stops. Well, some idiot, and I'm just going to be point blank, some idiot who was acting on emotions that they had not thought through, had taken a gun and unalived two people and then hit the road running. They think he's heading for Roane County, Roane Mountain, in through there to hide, but they don't know completely. So Mom and Dad and everybody are sitting on the interstate, on Interstate 40, just kind of waiting because they've got it shut down. They're flying helicopters, which is really dangerous because it's really misty and foggy here right now and freezing rain. And they're doing heat seeking, trying to see where he's running. Well, if he gets back there, either like from Brushy Mountain, Morgan County, Oak Ridge, Roane County, there, listen, that's some rough country. It's going to be hard to find somebody they get back there. So it's just been the weirdest day. It's just been the weirdest day. It's just been the weirdest day. And I've been down here half the week, and I'm feeling better because when I'm at home and stuff, because we do live in basically a cabin, I'm keeping the fire and dealing with the wood stove and just probably doing a little bit too much that I shouldn't be doing. So I've been down here, but I wanted to let anybody know that's in my area, in the Upper Cumberland area of Tennessee, be on the lookout for an idiot. So he and it happened apparently at the Hutchinson plant in Livingston. He just something snapped, and normally at a workplace, if something snaps, it's due to a financial endeavor that they were promised and didn't happen, a management personality conflict, or a romantic interlude that didn't go well. Those are only three things that happen at factories that cause people to act on emotion. And then we've got the rest of the stuff going on in our nation. And if you've noticed, one of my last videos got taken down because YouTube didn't like that I had an opinion on things, which I think YouTube really needs to get it together, because we have opinions on things, and we have the right to talk about those opinions, and we have a right to say that we're not okay with our government not telling us what the crap is going on with all these drones, giving us half the story, leading us on, not telling us the truth, kind of playing the ambiguous storyline with us. It's just not polite, because our government has one job, and that is to take care and protect its citizens. Take care of and protect its citizens. That's all you got to do. Just protect us. Not happening. It's not happening. And my opinion, this is just my opinion. This is just what I believe. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to take it to the bank. You can take it with a grain of salt. My opinion is because the refining plants in North Carolina that were wiped out by Helene, they refined the nuclear waste from Oak Ridge. That was my mother's chihuahua. He's mad because he was napping and I'm talking now, so he's mad at me. But they would ship the stuff from Oak Ridge to North Carolina, and they would try to refine the nuclear waste. If you can refine nuclear waste, I, for one, say you make it maybe less lethal, but I don't think you can really do a lot with it. So when all of that storm hit, anything that was on the road, anything that was in shipping, anything that was not secured, and of course all those plants in North Carolina got washed away. So all those chemicals are on the lower eastern seaboard, and the way the storm swirled, may have gone elsewhere as well. I think this is just my opinion. Just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm not trained in this, but I pay attention, and I'm trained to have an inquisitive mind because I was in law enforcement for a long time. I think they're using the drones to sniff and see how much radiation is in these areas where this storm possibly wrecked a lot of these refining places or the shipment of the things that needed to be refined, and how bad it is. And they're not telling us. They're not telling us. That's my opinion. And I'm allowed to have an opinion. So, YouTube, deal with it. I'm allowed to have an opinion. But we have to start thinking a little bit more clearly about what's going on, because I don't think we're getting told the whole story. Not at all. I don't think it. No, I don't think at all. So we've got a lot going on right now. And honestly, I think they're just trying to tie a bow around the biggest pile of poop to hand to the next administration, so that anything that occurs in the first 6 months is going to seem like a complete failure, because they've set it up to be such. And they've got everybody in such a high emotional state that we're going to automatically attack somebody. That when things change, we're going to be on the attack because we want things to change. When the physical person changes in the office, we want things to change in our environment, and we want to see the change. And when we don't, we get mad. So they're amping everyone's emotions up. If I could tell anybody anything, if somebody's wanting you to make you feel an emotion, they want control over you, because people that are easily scared or manipulated, they're controllable. They're controllable. You become a minion army. It doesn't matter what you think, what you know. You become a minion army for someone else that can manipulate you. Hi, Margaret. So I'm just telling all my subs and stuff, just, chill out. Don't freak out. If you need to find comfort, I'm going to go to the good book and I'm going to talk to the Lord. You do what you need to do to find comfort. But don't let these people who say they're, the end all be all of this nation, and they run everything, rerun a tight ship, but everything's wrong right now. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them freak you out. Don't let them get your emotions heightened. Don't let them stress you out. Don't let them cause you to have health issues. Don't. Because I guarantee you, if something was really wrong, they'd be in their hidey holes. And they're not. They're out playing the circuit and doing all their little, nighttime shows and talking about all this crap. They're not in their little hidey holes. So until somebody puts their butt underground, I'm not gonna worry. I'm just not gonna worry, because I believe I believe a lot of it is just to create an emotional tirade in this nation so that nothing can go right with the next administration. And that's my opinion. YouTube, I'm allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to voice that opinion. And if you don't agree with it, hey, that's okay. I don't agree with a lot of your stuff. You don't agree with a lot of my stuff. A lot of channels have different perspectives. A lot of channels are saying way worse things than me. But what I will say is, people are saying, well, there's no land grab going on in North Carolina. Let me tell you, it's not really a land grab. It's a land reallocation. So the flood zone had to be changed, because now this has been known to flood from here to here, from way up here. So the flood zone that took up this much land is now taking up this much land. And so if you lived here, you no longer have land. It's in the flood zone. You can't live there. Adios. Bye-bye. It belongs to the government now. So yeah, people are losing their land. Then there's land that just completely washed away that people are still going to have to pay for, that doesn't exist anymore. I call bullcrap on that, but there's got to be something we can do about that. And then there's people that in that flood zone where there's still land and that they owned it, but the flood zone is now here. They should be giving them waivers to go back and temporarily live there until they can find something else, but they're not doing that. So that's why all these places are full up. All these shelters are full up. All of these little group homes, these little camp homes are full up. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Pathetic. In my opinion, it's pathetic, because our government has the ability to open up these stadiums, these conference centers, these mega churches, and let people go in and stay warm and fit the bill. Okay, if they're not going to put FEMA trailers because the land's not okay, okay, then go to these big places where you gather, open the doors and let people gather and sleep. It just but we're starting to see a lot of people because we got down in my area down to like 12 one night here last week. And they're a little higher than us. We're pretty high, but they're just a little higher than us, and they catch more of the kind of the nor'easter edge of the storms. So it's not a good situation. Hi, simple girl, how you doing? I hate that I've been MIA, but I have had so much health stuff to take care of, so much bad weather to take care of the stove, the wood stove and stuff. It's been such bad weather that David's work crew has not been able to work. We're running on nickels. It just seems like everything it seems like everything is going down the drain, and I'm trying to stay positive because I know that they want us in this mental mindset right now. I know they do. I absolutely know they do. You caught me live. Hi. I've not been on as much as I should have lately because I've had a lot of health appointments and I had a lot of eye appointments and eye issues, and I was Ray Charles for 2 days because I couldn't see a thing because they dilated my eyes so bad. But I'm starting to feel better. I'm down at the farm right now, and that's helping me a lot right now. I'm using this Rife machine. I've got a towel over it. We keep the bulbs clean. Been using the Rife machine to kind of help my thyroid perk up a little bit. If you don't know about a Rife machine, RIFE, I'm not a doctor, but you might want to do your own research. Hint, hint. Yeah, they want us hurting, because if you're on a sinking ship, if you mentally think you're on a sinking ship, anything looks like salvation, even if it's a floating turd. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm done with the floating turds. I really am. I'm done with the floating turds. It's just like I'm being very careful what I'm grabbing onto and who I'm allowing to lead me right now. And I'm watching these people try to like create trauma because emotional people are easily controlled. Remember that. So when somebody tries to make you mad, or somebody tries to pick a fight with you, or an ex-husband or an ex-wife tries to, they're just trying to control you, and just bring it down and be like, I understand what you're trying to do. I'm not going to follow that behavior pattern, but I am going to separate from this conversation that's not going anywhere. And when you have a better day, we can try it again. It'll make them so mad, but then you detach and you go home and you're fine. And they realize, well, crap, that didn't work. And really, if I could say anything to this president, I'd be like, okay, listen, dude, you pardoned 1,500 people. This is almost unheard of. How do you know about 1,500 people that need to be pardoned? Probably because you were in amongst the 1,500 people that were doing stuff that needed to be pardoned. So, okay, it's an admission of guilt. Now you're looking to pardon people that don't even have charges against them, which means you know something that you're not telling us. So that's another admission of guilt. I'm not okay with this. As retired law enforcement, I'm not okay with you bending and flexing these rules and trying to CYA when the rest of America is barely able to feed their A's. And I'm sorry, but when you pardon your son, biggest admission of guilt ever, because you swore he never did anything wrong and you were not in on that, but you knew exactly who to pardon, how long to pardon him for, and who else to pardon with him. That's an awful lot to know if you were completely ignorant. So I'm just like, people pay attention. We've got a lot of crooked people, and I hope that they get pushed out here very soon. I hope they get pushed out, and I hope that they have to answer for some of their behaviors. And I hope that America regains its spirit and its gumption to be headlong, belligerent, and make sure that our politicians work for us, because that's the way it should go. I really hope things get better. But seeing the way that North Carolina is being treated, Now, J.D. Vance has said that's going to change on day one. And I believe him. I believe him. These are his people. He is one of us. I believe him. I believe he's going to try to change things and get some help. He's going to try to get those waivers so people can do temporary housing and some of the smaller tiny homes. Ask yourself why this has been handled so much differently. And people are saying, "Oh, the death toll is only a 200 and something." Okay, that's only the confirmed deaths. You had people that were washed down such powerful waterways that it split bodies into pieces. I'm sorry, there's no nice way to say this. We've got cadaver dogs just finding fingers, pieces of flesh. Everything has to be put in a body bag, even if it's just a finger. And it's going to go through a year or two of forensic stuff to identify DNA, who that is. So those people can get a certification of death on their loved one and then take care of the bills that they're still going to have to pay or lose everything that loved one had. And if they're tied up in land or anything with that loved one, they'll lose it too. So, there's still so many. I think I heard the other day there's still, probably 1,000 or more missing. And that's a conservative guess. And it takes, and to confirm a death, it sometimes can take a couple, 3 years. And so this is putting a lot of people in a position to have to be held accountable for family members' loans, liens on property, taxes, land taxes, all that crap, so they don't lose everything, because then when they get that certificate of death, the insurance will pay and they can make ends meet. But they're going to drag this out as long as possible, and who's going to get the property then? Medicare, Medicaid people, listen. Medicaid specifically. Now, we all know that some people are so sick that Medicaid is the only option. And hey, listen, I'm not dogging you for that. I have a very rare disorder. I understand. Sometimes life just throws you a curveball that you can't maintain, and Medicaid is the only option. There's no shame in that. But here's what Medicaid does. Look it up. Don't trust anything I say. Look it up, research. If you get specific types of care or so much nursing home care, you must, or you go into, like, it's a, what's it called? It's a first something other. I forget what the name of it is. Anyway, if you go into a certain program, Families First or First something other, but because of health issues, if the house is in your name, but you have a husband or children living there, then the husband and children can still live there. But when the last person that was in that home when you were sick and the contract for your Medicaid was done, as soon as they vacate or pass away, that land and house goes back to the state as recompense for them taking care of you. Now, obviously, they're going to be spending a whole lot of money on healthcare to get land that's probably not worth a lot. But we also know how healthcare is ballooned up. And so they, we're probably got some backroom deals where it's all making good sense for them. I fully believe in the next 30 years, most of the American soil will not be owned by Americans. I mean, if you just look at all the ways that the land's being recouped, I just don't think Americans are going to be able to own soil for very much longer. I just don't. That's my opinion, my perspective. And YouTube may not like that again. But again, I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm allowed to voice it. And you research it. You go look into that. Each state is a little bit different. But in Tennessee, my mother had to take care of my great aunt who lived to be 103 or 104. I have no desire to be 103 or 104. I'm dealing with enough crap at 46. 103, 104 is like, no. But she had to do the last 10 years of her life in her nursing home, and she had a really good pension. Had her husband's pension, and she was able to pay for at-home care for a long time until she got her finances got below where Medicaid picked her up, put her in the nursing home. They did not give her an at-home option. She went straight to the nursing home. Mom still took care of her. Mom still checked the house, kept the house clean. And then they sent my mother this huge bill. And my mom's like, what? And they, well, you were her caregiver. Mom was like, well, I'm her only living relative in this state. Because she was from Indiana, but she moved back down here when she got sick. And they were like, well, if you can't pay the bill, we're going to have to take the home because that was in the contract for the care. So Mom learned about this the hard way. And I was like, yeah, Mom, that's the way it works. That's the way it goes. So they took it, auctioned it, and now there's got another family living in it. Mom didn't want it. We're not taking care of our family because we want their land or property. We're taking care of our family because they're our family. We didn't give a rat's hind end about that little house or the land. It don't matter to us. But the thing that we have to think about is, even though we don't have an emotional attachment to that land, our emotional attachments are to our people. We have to understand that land is about the only power the American citizen has. And the American citizen is not going to have power very much longer because all of our land is being tied up into programs where it goes back to the government if certain things and certain funds get out of hand. It's pathetic. Let me read down. Oh yeah, they take everything, and then they tax you for dying. Death tax. They tax you for dying. I'm probably mean enough I will wake back up and be like, that was rude, and then go back out. But yeah, I mean, it's just we've got to look at this. We have basically turned back into what we fled from in England. Now, Britain's not doing very good either because they're actually putting people in prison, not because they incited physical violence, that they punched anybody, they started a riot with their hands, they jumped in and created, a violent behavior, but because they said something on the internet that could have potentially made someone react violently. I can sneeze and somebody could react violently because they're having a bad day. I could say, God bless you to somebody that sneezed, and they could get violent because I said, God bless you. Be very careful. They put somebody in prison for like 15 years the other day because I think it was a woman. She went to like a super center. They did a flash mob, run in, bust the windows, take everything, run out. And she, just trying to feel safe and put a barrier up, started taping so that they would leave her alone, and because she didn't know what else to do, figuring she would be questioned about what happened. So she just started taping with her phone. She posted it to the internet and was like, what the crap just happened here? They arrested her, put her in jail. Research. Don't believe me, research. Because while she didn't participate, her posting that could have caused more people to riot. Now, I had a criminal court judge that I worked for, and he retired super early, like right after I retired with my health and all the problems I had. Just like 3 years later, boom, he retired. And I was like, what happened? What? You're really young. What, is the lake calling your name? Because he loved the lake. And he was like, no. He was like, we're fixing to put people in jail for political reasons because we're going to create fictional issues that they could do, and we're going to punish people on what we think they can do rather than the actions they have actually done. He said, so everyone will be a monster, everyone will be a target, and he said everyone will, be screwed. And he said, I'm not going to be part of it. And when he told me that, I thought, surely it's not going to get that bad. But he also, has more knowledge than I do. He he's above my pay grade. I see it now. The man was right. And, he calls and checks on me every once in a while, and I appreciate him for doing that. But now I see what he was meaning. Now I see exactly what he was meaning. And it started with Started with that. Remember how stupid you were because of certain types of horse wormer? I have wormed so many horses in my life because you start to worm a horse and you have to get it in the corner of the mouth and stick it back there, and most of them don't like it. They'll toss that head. Then you have to grab hold of the halter. Then you put it in your mouth while you're wrestling with them until you grab them again. And I've ate probably a lot of horse wormer in my life. Probably a lot. It's probably why I've never really had worms. My mom and dad would take me to the doctor and they would have us checked for worms because around here it's normal. And I never had worms, but I wormed ponies, horses, everything. It was my pony or my horse. It was my job. But they made it sound like it was this horrible, horrible thing. But if you travel to any other country, they put you on a 2-week protocol of that because of the parasites that they don't want bouncing around from country to country. Now they took away a lot of that and didn't prescribe it, especially even for travel, because it became taboo. Well, now we've got mumps. Now we've got things coming across international, going from country to country that were eradicated that are coming back into first world countries. What was the one thing cut out? You got to ask these questions. You got to look at these things. And there's a lot more to that. There's a lot of other medical stuff to that, but you kind of have to look at this and say, what's going on? Where is, the first thing that occurred that caused the breakdown? And sometimes it takes you a long time to figure it out. But when you put 11 million people or more that don't have good health care and are still packing viruses and diseases that we have eradicated in first world countries, well, the first world country, when it becomes overridden by third world country people, we're not going to keep that first world status. You're diluting the population's health. Mumps are coming back in force, and mumps are kind of dangerous. You have to be very careful. It's more dangerous for elderly people, even my age, than is for kids. But there's a lot of stuff coming back, and our doctors don't know how to say that's what it is because they've never seen it, because they've been in a first world country where they've not seen it. My dogs are snoring. It is hilarious. Do you hear that? That dog is snoring. That's hilarious. So somebody shook the jar of ants and they're biting ants. What is it? That little boy had that. It was in a movie. He had a ant in a jar around his neck, and he said, "You want to see my stinging ants?" They're all stinging right now, ain't they? But yeah, it's that's how rapidly things spread, change, and that's how quick your honey gets bit when you step in an anthill. It is. It's that much, and we are an ant farm run by a few totalitarian ants. You just got to think about that. Let me see what that. Yeah, you got to do it between states, 6 or 7 years. You got to change the property, but they still have things. If your health was so bad before that, and they think you knew and did it, they still have ways to come back and do that. I know that my uncle, he retired out of the Air Force. He turned, I forget whose property it was. Anyway, turned it into an LLC for his company, and they couldn't take it. And I was like, smart man. But he retired from the Air Force, and he spoke in Congress several times. He was smart. Now, I'm lucky that I have a financial advisor. I used to work for a district attorney that was a female, and her husband is a financial advisor. So when I have questions, I go, "Hey, I got a question," and I pick their brain. And they're really helpful to me. And they helped me a lot when we were going through my great aunt that Mom took care of and my granny. But it is set up to recoup property. It is because the medical bills that we pay in America are so inflated. They're so bloated that there is no way you can be sick and hang on to any of your property or any of your dignity. There's just not. And if they wanted you well, we would have healthcare that was cost effective, and we would have healthcare that didn't create consumers or customers, but it created healthy people. We have a consumer based healthcare that thrives on creating more customers, but not eradicating or fixing the issue. And they certainly don't want to meet you in the middle and say your health is important to us, and we know that part of being healthy is being safe at home and not having stress upon you. Oh no, they throw that on us in spades. So it's set up backwards. That's why a lot of people are now leaving the U.S. to go seek medical care elsewhere. It's more simplistic, but it doesn't have a lot of the hangups that cost them their home or their dignity. You know, it's sad to see people like. I mean, I have a little dibbly house. If they was to take it, I'd be like, you got gypped in that deal, buddy. But a lot of people have generational farms. Like this part of my family has a generational farm, and we have a doctor and a pilot, and we learn a lot from them. They learn a lot. They teach us a lot by how they run this area. But my little dibbly house is crap. But if I get super sick to where I have to go to the nursing home, they would take it as soon as David, because if I got super sick, that would be my only insurance option. So as soon as David moved or kicked the bucket, they would recoup our home and land, which honestly is not a lot. But when they're doing that to millions and millions of people, that's a lot of land. And I think there should be a different option for people that are sick, that own their land outright and then become sick. There should be a different option. Because you work your butt off to pay for your land, you should be able to keep it. You should be able to keep it. You should be able to do what you want to do with it. I don't know. But even just like being held responsible for, like, people in North Carolina being held responsible for their family members' financial obligations while they know they're dead because they didn't come home, but they can't find them or enough of them to get forensic DNA analysis to confirm they're dead. It could take up to 3 years. It's either going to take up to 3 years with forensic DNA, or at the 3-year mark, if they don't have the forensic DNA yet, they're just going to go, okay, then they're deceased, and give them. It's freezing rain again. They're going to go ahead and give them a certificate of death. And how long could many of you all pay on someone else's mortgage note, vehicle notes that no longer exist, but you have to pay for them? Not very. I mean, most of us are barely scratching by on our own. The last 2 months with this weather and the contract rules for working in weather like this, David's only got to work a few days here and there, like 2 to 3 days a week, and not getting many hours in. And thank God that we know how to dig roots and tan fur, and we pretty handy people. I told a lady the other day she needed pajamas made. And I said, if my eyes were working, I would make your pajamas. But then I sent her on to a lady that could make her pajamas. But if my eyes had been working correctly, I would have been like, heck yeah, I'll make your pajamas. But you have to have so many skills. Thank God we have a lot of skills in this area. But we have generations coming up that have no skills. They have very little skills. The skill set is so small now that one hiccup in their life could just completely eradicate them. And it's like, how do we get back and get a better balance where the teeter-totter is not flipping us into orbit and the government's sitting on everything? How do we do that? Well, it starts with talking to our political, I want to say leaders, but no, they're political workers. They work for us. And it starts with being the squeaky wheel, and it's not violence. It's not, you don't be mean. You start with bringing them factual, empirical evidence of wrongdoing, of harm to citizens, and of outlandish behavior witnessed by many, many people. Like our hospital here was shut down. You want to know why? This man came in, bought it, used the money to send offshore accounts. Then he fled, left this in a tax mess. Whoever wants to open it back up has to pay the taxes on it. Nobody can do it because he had it in such a mess. So our hospital is rotting up here and can't be used. Can't be touched because of the money that it would take to get it out of the tax culprit that is in. We have no hospital. We haven't for many years. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours or more to any good hospital. It's an hour and a half to a trauma, and it's 2 or 3 to a really good trauma. Hey, would y'all stop snoring? I'm trying to go live. But all because some man saw an opportunity to get a hospital that was in trouble, get money to get it out of trouble, misallocate the funds, disappear. He has a warrant for his arrest, but he's in some island somewhere. They'll never find him. We'll never extradite him back to Podunk, Tennessee. It ain't going to happen. And our hospital's rotting, and our community has lost many people because they just don't have the ability to travel a 3-hour round trip to go to the hospital. We only have like 2 or 3 ambulances. That's not enough to keep up with the need here. We've got rich people moving in because they want to retire in the simple life, but they raise our property taxes to where when you live here your whole life, you can't even pay for your freaking land anymore. And then you say, hey, if you're going to live here, buy here, shop here, bring in industry here, bring in commerce here. Oh, well, we just want to ride the trails and just enjoy life, but we'd rather go to Kroger, or we'd rather go to Target, or we'd rather go to Belk or Knoxville or Turkey Creek. Well, thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. Oh, but we sure love our simple neighbors. They're just good people. You might want to talk to them a little bit more because we're getting a little bit irritated with you. You have to be a productive, profitable person when you live somewhere. Because if you don't have a community that's going to make it. And so when you get these little retirement places where people go, they want to live the country life in their retirement, they basically tear down that country lifestyle, wreck the land taxes, move out the people that they moved there that they love so much and wanted to act like and be like and learn from. They have to flee because they can't afford the land anymore, can't afford the land taxes. And so it becomes another hub of a transitional community that has no longevity as far as like generational wealth, generational knowledge. It's brand new and it's in transition, and who knows if it's going to make it. Because a lot of these places are hard to live in because nature's not good here and the land is a little rough. And sometimes they're not prepared for that. But I've sat here and watched this for years here. For years. And our Chamber of Commerce wanted, let's bring in tourism. How about we bring in industry? They said, oh yeah, we're gonna make a industrial complex on the south end of the county. It's got a big sign that says industrial complex. It's got a big paved road. That was sold probably 15 years ago. There are still Angus cattle being run on it. The man sold the property to make the industrial complex for the county. The county couldn't get or did not ask for anyone to bid on it because it's really close to an interstate where it could be, we could get people to ship stuff in and start some factories. But that man sold the property. They put up a sign, but he never had to move his cattle. So he's been grazing his cattle on property that our county's been paying the taxes on and maintaining. Boy, he came out smelling like a rose, didn't he? And the funny thing is, and there may be a video on my Facebook or my YouTube somewhere, you drive to the end of the paved road and there's a deer blind where he still hunts deer. It ain't his property. It belongs to the county. It's an industrial complex, but they've done nothing with it, and he still acts like he owns it. Yeah, gentrification. Yeah. People don't like that word, but yeah. And we wonder why America and America's youth have no foundation. They have no foundational knowledge. They have no foundational heart. We've erased it. We've paved over it to put up apartment complexes. We've paved over it to put up Target. We've paved over it to put up a Zaxby's. And we've not cared. We've not cared about the history. We've torn out people's homes and bought farms so we can make roads for people to ride four-wheelers because it's fun. But nobody knows that that land has got 4 to 6 different cemeteries that go back 400 years, that tell a story. Nobody knows this anymore. And it's just, for me, it's just so sad to see it fall away. So sad to see it fall away, fall apart. It's so sad for me to watch my political leaders, and I use that so loosely, leaders, pardon 1,500 people. How in the blooming heck do you know 1,500 criminals if you're supposed to be the most upright man leading a nation? Would we have voted for them? I say them, the whole family, because they're a syndicate family. Would we, as a nation, the people who voted, would they have voted for them had they known he was affiliated with 1,500 felons or criminally charged individuals that he was going to pardon? Puts a little bit of spin on that, don't it? Like, I wouldn't vote for somebody that would kick a puppy. Probably not going to vote for somebody that would know and help 1,500 criminogenic persons. But, people can rationalize and make anything what they want it to be. So here we sit, watching the rich idiots implode our nation because they don't think solid genealogical and generational knowledge has any use in this world anymore. But if you go places and you watch people, they want to know how to do the old things. They want to know how to, they want to know about herbs, and they want to know about nature. They want to know about how to keep livestock. They want to know how to butcher their own meat. They're starting to want to know these things again. So maybe there's a good swing back, and we're going to get some skill sets back that we've lost. Maybe, there's a lot of blacksmiths popping up. There's a lot of people doing some hard, laborious tasks that had fallen away. And I'm so happy to see people doing it. People don't look at my husband and go, he does what? Now they go, oh, wow, that's a skill that was almost lost. Yes, it was. So it's nice to see people coming around and thinking of things differently. But I don't know. I've just been, between what has happened this year, my husband literally having to leave a job because of the drug addicts they would hire and never test, but put them on machines that could kill people. They would let them run machines that could maim or kill people. And when they knew that they were using, we just need to get bodies to show up to work. When did we get so comfortable with criminogenic behavior and sorriness? When? And how do we stop it? Well, we stop it by standing up. He had to stop it by saying, I can't work amongst this. I refuse to work amongst this. I refuse to put myself in this environment around these people and basically say, I approve of your lifestyle because I'm not going to say anything about it. He said, I just can't do it. So he left. It's been hard because that was a good job. Now he's back to doing hard work. Like he's a lineman. He's back to doing hard work like logging and stuff, not making good money. Doesn't have any insurance. I worry about him. But he was at his limit with what he could deal with. When you've got HR and you go to HR and you say, I have a problem with this, and HR goes, well, we just want people to show up to work. And if they have to show up to work, we're okay with that. That is how just humanity falls down and empires flatten. And America's struggling right now. America's struggling big time, mostly because we're the piggy bank for the world. And when we put our quarters in the laundromat, it doesn't always come back right. Take that as you want to take it. But a lot of it is because, like, what is it? Like 6% of the world own all the wealth. And they think that they can make the world heal to whatever they want. But here's the thing. It's the other 94% that has all the skill sets and knowledge, and old-timey lore to survive. So who's really rich? Who's really rich? And it's just a different way of thinking of things. I think of things differently. I know I'm a weirdo. I think of things differently. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And it's sometimes it's as simple as me sitting here and going, I watched my ex-husband leave me because he found something he thought was better, but then he left her because he found something he thought was better. Now he's on his third marriage, and he has very little in his life that he can show for it because he does not have those years that he accumulated to know and emotionally be really attached to somebody and to really create a deep foundational family. What is it, that song with Jewel, temptation soon becomes the oppressor? Be very, very careful. And she also said in another song, show me a leader that's fit to lead, who doesn't sow a seed in everything wounded enough to breed, because after all, what's fun power if you can't act like a rock star? Those things stick with me. When I heard those songs, those things stuck with me. And they've been true. I've watched people through my careers with working with criminals and murderers. Those things have been true. Temptation always does become the oppressor because you turn your life over to something. And politicians are looking for a way to get something out of everyone without giving anything in return. They want to multiply their assets with giving none to start. So, only the laundromat owners. You got that. You understood the assignment. You understood the assignment. We've got a lot of work to do in America, and a lot of it is just hard work, turning back to the land, telling politicians, hey, take your suits and ties off, roll your sleeves up, get dirty, get to work. And I think we're going to have to go back to some old ways, and we're going to have to cut out a lot of these middlemen that thought they were bringing us creature comforts, and we're going to have to live a hard life again, and we're going to have to teach our kids how to live off the land and how to do things that are hard and not always wake up with a smile on your face, but you just got to wake up and do what you got to do because you're struggling to make life better for those that come after you. And that's why a lot of times I'm on YouTube. I want my grandbabies to have a better world. How do we get a better world? We talk about what's going wrong. We try to do it appropriately, even though sometimes it's difficult because, the powers that be don't want us to talk. But we keep talking, we keep having conversations, we keep having debates, healthy debates, and we keep looking at the empirical data, we keep looking at the numbers, we keep looking at these focus groups, we keep looking at the stats on criminogenic behavior and how they're changing and morphing as our demographic and our country changes. We have to show them we're not stupid. We see these changes, we understand why and how they're changing, and we understand the motivation behind it. And now we want to undo it. I have no problem with anyone that wants to come here to this country legally. Come right on, move next door. I'll make you cornbread and casserole and say howdy. I'll help you mow your yard. The Chihuahua wants me to shut up. But if you're going to come here, offer nothing to this nation, and bring bad habits and create bad momentum and bad mojo in my nation, I don't want you here. I don't want you here because I pay taxes. I live in a place where I pay taxes and I support police officials, firefighters, EMS to create a safety boundary for me where I live. And they're eradicating it because they're outnumbering our safety features. And then you got to look at the health and everything else that's going on and the financial components of it. And we just have to say, hey, you know something? If this was a business plan, it would be shot down. If this was a request for a loan for this reason, it would be denied completely. Why is it being held up by our government? And why are people in North Carolina that lost everything only getting $750, and anything above that is attached to a loan that they have to pay back on a house that doesn't even exist? It's like, who do you really care about? Who do you really care about? And why does the fascination seem to be going to the people that are not helping our nation right now? Why are we rolling out the red carpet for people that are bringing nothing to add to our nation? Now, if they were coming in legally, getting a social security number, paying taxes, they're bringing something. They're adding. I'm cool with that. But if they're not going to abide by our laws and regulations, useless as tits on a boar hog. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about. I'm in a power chair. I'm in Mom's power chair. I've been keeping my feet up. Let me show you what I'm looking at. You got to see this. Look at this. It's a Chihuahua, 17-year-old Chihuahua, a 12-year-old Pug Zoo under the little Christmas tree. And we were watching Heather Otis on her Temu things. And if you've noticed, I've not done many Temu orders because we've been trying to send as much money as we can to North Carolina to help feed people and to help in any way possible. Well, I don't have 2 nickels to call up score right now because money is not that important to me, but it goes quicker than you can make it half the time. So Christmas is going to be real slim. I've been wanting to go and visit Gypsy for, like 2 months. Just the gas and the logistics to get there is, and making sure it's during a time when my health is going to be okay. It's not lined up yet. I want to go see her so bad I can't see straight. I'm making a lot of concessions in my life to help other people. And it's kind of irritating me because I see these big corporations doing nothing. I see our government doing nothing, saying nothing, but we're looking for nuclear stuff on the Eastern Seaboard, but they won't tell us what's been lost. But we also know, now you do, that the Oak Ridge plants, the nuclear radiation plants, their waste was shipped down to the plants in North Carolina to be refined. If you can refine nuclear radiation waste, I need to do more research in that because I don't think you can. So anything that was in the process of being shipped or moved, and all those plants are gone. So could that maybe be what they're looking for and what they're flying for and to see how far it spread, because, a lot of people right after, before anyone was rescued or anything, they were seeing helicopters with what they called beach balls underneath them. And you can get that from Bear Independent and Real Estate Mindset and a whole lot of other channels. They actually have video. And people are like, what are all these helicopters with no markings on them, which is illegal as heck, with beach balls underneath them? Well, they're radiation sniffers. They go in and they see if it's compatible to go in there safely. So they knew from the beginning that it's probably not a good situation. So is that maybe still what we're still doing? And why are we finding people that shoot down drones? Because number one, it took you how many weeks to say yes or hours? You denied it, knowing anything about them. You said they were coming from other countries. They were possibly suspect for other things. A landowner that sees one on top of his home is probably going to see it as a direct threat. And if you see it as a direct threat, you're allowed to protect yourself in your home. So these people that are being charged, I'm sitting there going, we're going to have some problems in court with that, because that's going to be one of them. If you got a good attorney, but now since they've opened up and said yes, they're ours. Okay, you should have done that from the get-go. But there was an old man that shot. He shot twice and hit it once. He must have been a good shot. And he got like a $10,000 fine and misdemeanor criminal charges. He's got federal charges too. But he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and he's probably going to lose his home. And he's an old man. He didn't know what it was. Nobody was telling him what it was. It was flying over his home, and it was lowering things. He said it looked like lines or cords. How would that make you feel? Would that make you feel safe? No, it would make me feel fear for my life. What would my behavior be? Probably very similar to his. So, hello, government. Talk to us. I'm frustrated. But we have to understand that they want us frustrated. They want us upset. And they want us emotional so they can control us. If you're emotional, you're easily manipulated. So we have to sit back on our haunches and we have to go, what is this? What do they want from me? How do I give them the opposite? And how do I outsmart them? And how do I make sure that they do not use this to take advantage of something else right now? And right now, I think that January is going to be a very rough month for us. I think they've set him up for failure. I think they're setting America up for failure. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. Hello, YouTube. I'm allowed to voice it. We'll see what happens. But, I saw somebody the other day on the TV that said that, we're going to release viruses as soon as, and I'm sitting there going, why would you say that? Why would you try to scare people and put them back in that mindset of fear, of fight or flight? Well, it benefited a lot of people last time, didn't it? Money, 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 money. So we have to sit back and we have to be smarter. We have to be calmer. We have to be a little bit more sane. What is it? Older, plainer, saner. We have to be older, plainer, saner than our politicians and congressional leaders that are leading us awry right now. So think about those things and research everything. The Chihuahua is telling me to shut up. He wants a nap. So I'm going to shut up. But yeah, I'm down here at the farm. Just needed, from the health, I just needed a break and a little respite and somebody to kind of be around me to watch me. Feeling a lot better. And winter is not nice so far this year, especially in my area. I hope it's better for y'all. It's been horrible in my area. Winter hit with a vengeance. I don't even have a Christmas tree up. I've just barely cleaned my house from Grinchmas from all the crafting. I don't have a Christmas tree up. This is the second time in my whole life that I've not put a Christmas tree up. The other time was when I was really sick with pancreatitis and did not think I was going to make it. I was in the hospital for 8 days and come out super sick and was just too exhausted, didn't care, I just didn't care. And this year, it just doesn't feel like I should be celebrating anything. It just doesn't. And if anybody gets presents, it's going to be useful presents. It's going to be shoes, underwear, socks, gloves, because that's what we've been rendered down to as a society because of everything that's occurred. And I can't even imagine North Carolina. They're doing a lot of toy drives and stuff like that, but they're even trying to stop some of those. I read 3 articles about one toy drive that was told don't come. They went anyway and they gave their toys out. Good on you. So, y'all, the electric just went blip blip. It went blip blip again. And we have got freezing rain. So I'm going to call and let mom and dad know they need to get home. And y'all have a great day. Watch the weather. Be safe. And I guess I'm going to have to go downstairs and sit by the gas stove or start a wood fire. Dad has got multiple avenues to heat this home. I am my father's child. He taught me how to be prepared. So think about those things, y'all. And I'll be back on another time. But if you think about things after this loads, put comments down. If you want me to look into something or discuss a subject, maybe that I won't get booted over, put it down below. I think we can talk about anything calmly, and YouTube should just leave me alone if I'm talking about it calmly. Electricity's going to go out. Oh, yay. But give me suggestions. I'm always trying to help. Oh, I always do. And I have those really great drops that I do 4 times a day to do extra protection. So I'm on it. And I have certain ways. I have bellows and stuff, so I don't go really close to pump up the air and stuff. I have bellows and stuff. But yeah, I've got really good drops right now that I do 4 times a day because my eyes are my most important. I'm just trying to hang on to them. So keep me in your prayers. Okay, guys, watch the weather. It's getting kind of rough here. And I'll see you as soon as the Chihuahua will let me go live again without fussing. Y'all have a good day. I'm feeling better. Find something to smile about. They don't want you smiling. Find something to smile about, laugh about, and hug somebody and tell them you love them. That's what's going to change this world. I probably do need a pair of goggles. I might look into that. I've got some safety glasses, but yeah, the welder goggles might be a little bit better. Dad's stove is quite bigger than mine, so that might... He's probably got some downstairs. Oh, thank you, Margaret. I love y'all too. Y'all bring me so much peace. And I don't know if you can understand that, but y'all bring me so much peace. Hi, Mary. So y'all have a great day. Find somebody to make laugh, smile, tell them you love them, give somebody a hug, make somebody's day better. That's what we've got to do. Little things make big changes. And if we just get back to being people that loved each other and cared about each other, the world would follow suit. Now I'm going to go take care of this 17-year-old Chihuahua. Even though he hates me, I love him. Okay, y'all be careful. Watch this weather. Bye, guys. Oscar knew I said it. Here he comes.